Every fiber of her body freezes as she realizes she just trespassed into the home of someone with ultimate authority. Tension spikes. Every object in the room emphasizes power and law, and Karen knows she's in serious trouble. The atmosphere screams instant regret, authority, and poetic justice. Picture the scene. Karen barges into a pristine suburban home, acting like she owns the place. She's mid-inspection, flipping through papers, muttering about violations. Then, her eyes catch the framed credentials on the wall, a federal judge's seal, gavel, and official documents. She freezes. The homeowner emerges from behind a doorway, calm, commanding, and unmistakably a federal judge. The lighting highlights her panic and his authority, creating a cinematic moment of power reversal. Papers flutter to the floor, the clipboard drops, and her bravado crumbles instantly. This is a confrontation where entitlement meets ultimate legal powers, and Karen realizes she picked the wrong house. Karen storms into a quiet suburban home, clipboard raised, expecting compliance, and fear from a typical homeowner. She steps further inside, scanning for violations, when suddenly her smug expression falters. Her eyes land on the polished wood gavel, the thick stack of law books, and the framed federal judge credentials on the wall. The homeowner appears behind her, calm, steady, and authoritative, a federal judge in full presence. Karen freezes completely. The room is filled with tension, shadows accentuating her panic, sunbeams highlighting the gavel and credentials. Every move she made now feels reckless. The ultimate power reversal has occurred, and she knows she's already lost. Justice has arrived before she even utters a word. Karen barged in before I even had a chance to answer the door. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses on. Her shoes squeaked against the hardwood floor as if she owned the place. "This inspection is long overdue," she declared, flipping through my papers and tossing them onto the couch like they were worthless. "You're clearly in violation of HOA rules." I stayed calm, very calm. Let her think she had control. She didn't notice the gavel on the desk, the thick law books stacked neatly, or the gold-embossed frame on the wall that read, "Federal Judge, United States District Court." She turned to me, smirk still plastered on her face. "Now about your penalties." That's when her smile faltered. The weight of the room shifted. The way the sunlight hit the credentials, the gavel gleaming softly, it all clicked for her too late. She froze. "You," she whispered, voice trembling. "You're a judge?" I took a slow step forward, arms crossed, voice calm but firm. "Yes, and you just trespassed." Her fake authority evaporated instantly. A dramatic, suspense-filled scene in a modern suburban neighborhood. Inside a warm, upscale home, an entitled HOA Karen, with a clipboard and fake authority badge, has broken in without permission. She freezes in shock as she realizes the homeowner, calm, imposing, dressed in a suit with a federal judge's ID on the table, is standing behind her. His presence is commanding, backlit by natural light from the doorway. Showcase her fear and regret. His stern and authoritative expression, and hints of legal power around the room, law books, framed certificates. Add cinematic lighting, crisp detail, intense tension, and a sense of justice about to be served. A high-drama cinematic moment inside a quiet suburban home. HOA Karen, nosy and entitled, is caught mid-break-in, holding her clipboard and rummaging through drawers. She suddenly spins around terrified. As the homeowner, an imposing federal judge, stands in the doorway, framed by strong backlighting. His judge's badge rests, clearly on the counter beside a stack of sealed case files. The atmosphere is tense, dramatic shadows, hyper-real facial expressions, sharp contrast, Karen panicking and pale, the judge calm but authoritative. Capture the theme of instant regret, power shift, and justice served, a tense, hyper-realistic confrontation scene inside a luxurious home. HOA Karen stands frozen near the living room doorway, one foot still inside after forcing her way in, clutching her clipboard tightly. Her expression shifts from arrogance to pure shock as she sees the homeowner, a tall, composed federal judge, standing with his arms crossed, his engraved federal badge clipped to his belt. Sunlight pours through the windows, creating dramatic contrast between her guilty stance and his commanding presence. Paperwork from her unauthorized inspection lies scattered on the floor. Add crisp detail, cinematic tension, and a clear sense of her instant regret. Visualize a suburban house with the front door swinging open unexpectedly. Show a Karen is caught mid-step, clipboard in hand, her face a mix of smugness and entitlement. Suddenly, the homeowner appears from behind a corner, calm, collected, and unmistakably a federal judge, wearing a robe or suit with a badge visible on the desk. The lighting emphasizes the shift of power. Shadows fall over Karen's face as her confidence crumbles. Law books, framed court credentials, and a gavel on the desk hint at the homeowner's authority capture the tension, shock, and instant reversal of control as she realizes her mistake. Imagine a quiet evening at home. Karen barges in uninvited, clipboard in hand, pretending to conduct an inspection. She steps across the threshold, smirking, confident she's enforcing rules no one else will challenge. Suddenly, she notices the gavel on the table. The thick law books stacked neatly. The clipboard slipped from her hands. Her so-called HOA enforcers, who had been hiding in the hallway, glanced nervously at each other. "You could face serious charges for this," I added, pointing to the door. "And trust me, the courtroom doesn't care about your entitlement or your excuses." She swallowed hard. I didn't know." "That's why it's called illegal entry," I said. "And it carries consequences." By the time the police arrived, summoned quietly while Karen hesitated in disbelief, her face was pale, her arrogance gone. Every item she'd tried to enforce, fake notices, threats, rules she invented, was invalid. Completely invalid. As she was led out in handcuffs, she glanced back once at me. Her expression wasn't fear. It was regret. She had underestimated someone she thought was just a regular homeowner. I closed the door behind her, took a slow breath, and looked around my house. This was my sanctuary, my rules, my authority, and today justice was served. Silently but decisively, the door slammed open before I could even react. Karen stormed in, clipboard raised like a weapon, sunglasses on, shoes squeaking against my hardwood floor. "This inspection is long overdue," she shouted. "You're clearly violating HOA rules." I stayed calm, letting her think she had control. She didn't notice the gavel, the law books, or the framed gold letters behind my desk declaring me a federal judge. Karen rifled through papers on the couch, tossing them carelessly, muttering about fines and penalties. Her smug grin stretched wider. "Now about your violations." I took a step forward, calm and measured. Her smile faltered. The sunlight caught the gavel and credentials on the wall. Her eyes widened. You're a judge?" she whispered, panic creeping into her voice. I crossed my arms. "Yes, and you just trespassed." Her face drained of color. The clipboard slipped from her hands. The two teenagers she'd brought as enforcers froze. Realizing the house wasn't just a home, it was a courtroom in waiting. I added, voice steady, "Trespassing carries consequences. And trust me, the courtroom doesn't care about your entitlement." She stammered. I didn't know." I pointed toward the door. "That's why it's illegal entry. And that carries real penalties." Outside, I'd quietly called the local police. Within minutes, sirens echoed down the suburban street. Karen's eyes darted toward the window, her confidence evaporating. Every fake notice, every imagined rule, every threat she had made vanished under the weight of the law. The police arrived, stepping inside calmly. Karen tried to plead, to explain, to assert control, but her words were empty. The officers took her ID, confiscated the fake HOA papers, and cuffed her. She glanced back at me wide-eyed, shock, fear, and the bitter taste of regret. The reality was clear. She had challenged the wrong homeowner. As they led her away, I closed the door, the room quiet again. I walked past the gavel and law books, a small smile on my face. This was my home, my sanctuary, my authority. No fake HOA, no entitled Karen, no clipboard could take that away. Justice had been served without a single shout. I sat at the desk for a moment, reflecting. "Entitlement isn't a shield," I whispered. "Trespass is." Outside, the neighborhood resumed its quiet rhythm, unaware of the drama that had just unfolded in a house, where law and order ruled supreme. The last image lingered in my mind. Karen's face, frozen in shock, as she realized she had walked straight into a courtroom disguised as a home. And I? Calm, composed, victorious. The gavel rested on the desk. Silent but powerful, a reminder that respect for the law isn't optional.